specify out these food would and you decide take one you take but wife and family on has we have brothers that when we're so everything else. Find great soil was good for corn.